Hi there, this is Chef Bill from the Culinary Institute of America, and today we're going to make chicken broth. The difference between a stock and a broth is typically a stock is made with bones and broth actually has meat in it. So job one is to get a chicken. You don't want a young, tender chicken. More interesting would be an older chicken that's a little bit tougher. And I've got a pot of cold water. What I'm going to do is take and lower that chicken right into the cold water. I have a chicken that has been put into the cold water. I brought it up to a boil, and there is some small amount of foam that I can take off. You've got a couple of choices for tools. Some people like to use a ladle where you can come in here and just grab that. Others love to use what's known as a spider, and if you have one of these work pretty well as well. And then a little bowl of water that I can rinse it clean. It takes you 2 or 3 minutes, but it's well worth the extra effort. I have here what the French call mirepoix, carrots, onions, and celery. Twice as much onions as the other two. And I'm going to introduce these vegetables in big chunks. You don't have to be careful how you cut them because they're going to be strained out. Big chunks because they're going to cook for about an hour. So in goes all of those vegetables. And then finally, some aromatic herbs and spices. So here's a couple of branches of thyme. They go in. A couple of bay leaves. They go in. 2 or 3 cloves of garlic peeled. They go in. And then I've got some peppercorns. They don't even need to be crushed up. Those can get sprinkled in. It took about 15 minutes, but this first pot has come up to a boil. I just wanted you to have a chance to see all the scum that got thrown off. We're going to skim that away. Skimming it away will make the difference between a nice clean broth and a clear broth that has some clarity and brilliance and one that looks a little bit murky and suspect. This pot is ready for vegetables and aromatics. Okay, it's been an hour and we're back. I've got 1 chicken stock that's been cooking for a full hour. At this point, the chicken is cooked, and I'll tell you exactly how I evaluate that. If I lift the bird up, I want you to notice that right here at the end of the leg, the skin begins to tear and separate just a little bit. It's doing it on both sides, and that's a pretty good indication that this meat is tender and ready to come out. I'm going to put some tongs into the cavity of this chicken, and I'm going to support it from below as well. So there is most of the bird. What you'll notice is that the meat pulls easily from the bone. So we let it cool, we strip all of the meat from the bone, and that meat can be used in a chicken salad. It can go into a chicken noodle soup or a chicken rice soup. A Mexican tortilla soup might have big chunks of chicken in it along with this chicken broth. So there's a lot that we can do. Next, I have the broth that has stayed behind. Now, it's hot, so be a little bit careful. I've got some towels here, and I'm going to pick it up after I turn off the burner, and I'm going to strain it. We want to get all of the vegetables out, so just pour it right into a colander. It's a good idea to pour it away from yourself. It's not a bad idea if you're at home to do this work in the sink. Then if you spill a little bit, it just goes down the drain. We want to remove all of those vegetables. And with a colander like this, it happens very quickly. So now we have chicken meat that's poached and tender. We have chicken broth. The clear broth is on the bottom, and on the top is a small amount of fat. We can take that fat off with a ladle. Just swirl it around to throw the fat to the outside, and then just ladle it off. Chicken broth should have a clear and distinct flavor of what it is, so it should taste like a chicken. It should be, while not crystalline clear, should be sort of translucent. It should not be cloudy, it should not be murky. So we can use this right away, but if you need to chill it down, you could take it and put it back into the same pot that it cooked in. Put that pot into your sink and surround it with ice water. And that will bring the temperature down quickly. Every once in a while, give it a stir to make sure that it cools evenly. and my guess within 20 minutes it'll be of a temperature where it's ready to go into the refrigerator. Once it's refrigerated, you should plan on using it up in 4 or 5 days. And if you have more than you can use in 4 or 5 days, then take it while it's still fresh, put it into a container like this, label it, and throw that into the freezer, and it'll last very happily for about 3 months in the freezer. After I've taken all the meat from the bones, I can discard the bones, gather the meat together, put it into a resealable bag, and store it in the refrigerator against whatever I want to use it for. So that's all there is to chicken broth. It will become a foundational ingredient in your kitchen, and you'll find yourself reaching for it again and again.